record this, and just so we could send it out to you afterwards, and also to everyone who wasn't able to make it. And without further ado, we'd like to begin. So I'm just going to share my screen in a moment. And I want to say thank you all for coming. It is an early time, so thanks for making the time to come. We're going to be discussing the quote to cash part of the process, and it's really interesting process that involves lots of teams, lots of systems, and Nelly is really, really the expert in this. That's why we brought her here today, and we're excited to dive in. So I'm just going to give a little introduction to who we are, what we're doing, and like what we do at ScaleOps, and then we'll be able to dive in. Just give me a moment. I'll share my screen. Okay, so how to create a winning quote to cash process. It's why we're all here, and we're super excited to get to that answer with you. I'm excited to hear what Nelly has to say because I always learn something from her. So before that, we're going to just discuss a little bit like, who are we? What is ScaleOps? We're the leading revenue operations company in Israel, and we work with you to transform your business processes with leading technology and operations methodology. So our focus really is operations, how to build a process, what it entails, defining the process, and also implementing the process. We partner with lots of leading technology, HubSpot, Salesforce, Make, and lots of others so that we can really give a whole solution. And we work with our clients full-time, part-time, whatever is needed to really get to provide the solution that they need. As you can see, we're solutions focused. So regardless of the software you're using, and obviously we have software preferences and recommend specific solutions based on the functionality and use of those software. We build the process that you need. So we again, from the strategy to the definition, and building the lead to cash process for our clients. That's one of the core functions of our work with them, like building the marketing to sales handoff and all of that. And we're excited to get into the quote to cash because this is something that we get to with lots of clients, and it's always a difficult one just because they're not sure how to approach it because there's so many systems involved, there are so many people involved, different teams. And Nelly, our COO, has also worked with many clients at her time here, and also works with leading our team and helping them through this because she really has a strategic mindset and is really the expert at building these kinds of things. So yeah, Nelly, feel free to, if you want to share your screen, or I can just click next.
Yes, I think I'll share mine. And thank you very much, Penina, for the lovely intro.
Sure.
Just a second. Too many tabs.
I can relate.
Here it is. Yes, so thank you everyone for joining us today. We will be talking about quota cash journey, and we will review the systems that are involved in this process and some key considerations and our receipt for successful project. I think that I maybe will have, in my opinion, two main tips or ideas to share in order to give like actionable insights on how to get started with such project. Yeah, and we all only have around 30 minutes. So I hope that I will cover as much as possible. So basically, this is the lead to cash flow. As you can see, it's not starting with a quote, it's starting with the opportunity. And I would say that it starts with the lead generation and opportunity management stage. Because usually before we are issuing a quote, we want to gather information during these stages of the sales process, and maybe even before in the marketing activities and the SDR work, and use this information in our quote. First of all, it will make the whole process more efficient, because we will reduce repeating questions. And we also, this way, will improve the experience of our customers, because the process and the conversation will be much more fluent. And again, it won't be like repeating questions and or these procedures that can delay the sales process. Right after the opportunity stage, we have the quote stage. The quote stage can be something very simple. If I have a number of products with a fixed price, with like a fixed discount policy and billing cycle, I can use maybe the native tools that we have in almost any CRM system without any like complex configuration. But in reality, most of the companies now have a whole like combination of different products with different terms. Some of them are one-time paid. Some of them are recurring. Some of them are calculated based on a percentage of usage or tiers and so forth. And we are diving into a complexity and like a pricing calculation model that is required. The second thing in quotes is that we also need to be able to get to a phase where you have defined pre-built templates that you can use, like general templates that your company can use. Not all the companies, like it takes time for companies to get to these defined templates, because usually at the beginning of the search of the product market fit and the whole involvement of the company, usually these quotes are highly customized. And we need to be able to have at least like a frame, a template that we can use. So one note regarding quotes, if we are, if it is requires like a more complex pricing models and terms, a combination of different type of products, you usually, you probably need a CPQ tool, and you can check whether your CRM provides comprehensive and good CPQ tool. HubSpot does it, Salesforce does it, or maybe think about using an external tool such as DealHub, PandaDoc, DocuSign, and so forth. And next to the proposal, some of the companies, their quotes and proposal are the same document, the same template, same document. They are contains the conditions and terms already in the quote. For some of the companies, it's two separate stages. So it's also something that you need to understand in your company, whether it's two separate stages or not, and think of the tool that will generate proposals. I will give an example. HubSpot knows to generate quotes really good, but not necessarily these quotes can be proposals as well, or like contracts. So if you use HubSpot for quoting, you probably will need an additional solution for the whole contract with all the conditions and terms. And then once it's accepted, or if I want to track the status of the quote and the contract and maybe negotiate, make changes and so forth, I also need these tools to be integrated with our CRM, not just in order to like move forward with the process, but also to repeat back this information regarding the quote status, regarding the any changes that were made and so forth, in order to manage my sales activities performance forecast in the CRM. So cool, we covered, I think, 4 stages and talked about, I think, an integration of 2 tools. Now proceeding to the order process. Usually if your company have an inventory, so the order process will be in the in your ERP tool or ERP system, sorry, it's not a tool. Like, it's much more than just a tool. And if you are not managing inventory, for example, if it's a subscription, it probably will continue to your financial system. And here as well, we are talking about another integration with the ERP. And I will stop here and emphasize the fact that now we are talking about integrating 2 core systems of the company, CRM and ERP. It's a very sensitive integration. And we will talk about the challenges or the complexity of this kind of integration in the next 2 slides. My tip here is to understand that the order is natively managed in the ERP system. So we would not want the CRM to trigger the creation of the order. We would prefer to sync some of the information, some of the data from the CRM to ERP, and use elements from the ERP to trigger the creation of the order. Another thing that we need to take into consideration is that the different structure and languages between the systems. So for example, a very, very common example is that the company name in the CRM is often not the same as the account name in the ERP system. And it's the same for the financial system, which is the account name. It's not similar to the company name in the CRM. Great. What else at this stage? Probably usually we would like to have a visibility in the CRM system on the status of the inventory that we have in the ERP, in order for the salespeople to be able to know what they can sell and what is, like, how much they have from each product, or the if there is any changes in the pricing or any changes in the product itself. So again, we can reflect it in the CRM. The sales team can issue the quote and the proposal, and the actionable order probably will be issued in the ERP system. And again, the information will be transferred also to the CRM. Once we have the order, we want to issue an invoice. And again, if we're using an ERP, you probably manage your invoices and financial transactions activities in the ERP system. And if not, you probably use a financial system such as Xero, Stripe, Morning, which is green invoice, Priority maybe. Priority is also ERP. But you probably use a financial tool like this. And again, we need to understand the alignment or the handshake between the CRM system and the financial and the ERP system. What we need to also take in mind when we're talking about the financial systems, it's that we have a really strict regulation in everything that is related to invoices, financial activities. And secondly is the alignment between the systems in terms of company name, account name. It's also understand that, for example, in CRM, the core objects are usually the contact object. Even if we are a B2B company, we are selling to people. And because of that, CRM is usually their main object is the contact object. But in financial system and as well in ERP, usually the core or the main object is the account. So the functionality is a little bit different. The unique identifiers, the background automations and processes that we have in each system are different. And we need to take this into consideration. And again, we want to sync back the data regarding the invoices to our CRM system in order for the salespeople to see that invoice was issued, for the customer success team, for the onboarding team, and for the cross-selling and upselling teams, in order to see the status, the payment and the status of this prospect or this customer. When it comes to cash collection and allocation, sometimes we use additional payment tools such as Stripe, Wix payment solutions, Xero. So this is like, I think, fourth or fifth integration that we are talking about. And then I already touched the cross-selling and upselling stage where we want to have all the data back in the CRM, because usually the teams are working in the CRM. And if not, we're talking here about another integration, which is a customer success tool. It can be Zendesk, it can be other similar tools, Intercom, for example. So we're talking about another tool. And again, we need to do this whole process of aligning and matching the structure of the systems, the language of the systems, the functionality of the systems in order to speak the same language. And last thing is that we also want to have the ability to analyze and report and analyze all this data. And although each system usually have reporting capabilities, and some of the systems have a very advanced reporting capabilities, usually in the core ones, which is the CRM, the ERP, and the financial tools, it's not giving like a full picture of everything. And it's a little bit challenging to bring these systems to show the whole picture, because we do not have in each of these systems all the objects, all the EDR structure, the ERD structure, sorry, that we need in order to do all this calculation and combinations of reports. So usually companies are getting to a point where they need a BI tool to have this summary of all this process, all this flow. Because in BI tool, I can build as many objects as any objects as I want, and set up my own rules, how I want them to be connected together, and manipulate this data. So in the BI tool, I probably will see attribution, I will see ROI, I will see the performance of our sales, I will see trends. I will see the status of the inventory, shipping, invoices, and so forth. Yeah.
Nelly, I have a question.
Sure.
It seems like a lot of work. It seems like there's lots of tools involved, lots of teams involved. And I guess it's two parts. One is what is the ultimate value that a company would get for building such a process rather than just working as maybe they're working with using lots of different tools, I don't know, trying to get everything together afterwards. And also at what point is a company ready to build this? Because it's like,
So
is a
you
tiny startup? Is it like,
so you are touching here a few things that I also plan to talk about later, but I will answer.
okay? Sorry,
No, I
we
will
can
answer
wait.
you. Um, um, so first of all, I think that like it's clear to everyone, especially who is here in this webinar, it's clear to everyone that having this process streamlined, automated, it will reduce a lot of time spent, will reduce a lot of mistakes and errors, will provide a clear picture of everything that is going on in this quota cash process. Like we see often, and I unfortunately I didn't collected the exact like numbers, but we see how much it affects the final like income of companies when sometimes like customers get contract but haven't like did not receive invoice on time, and it's not being tracked, or things are falling in the stage of like quote and proposal because the quote wasn't clear enough. I think I saw in one of the articles of Salesforce that 83% of the decision of in B2B transactions or B2B sales is based on the pricing. So if the quote is not clear enough, and it's not like, you know, the pretty thing, it's nice to have it like pretty and designed, it's a bonus, it's an addition, but first of all we need to make sure that it is clear. And as someone that does this in our company, it's not so easy as it sounds, especially if we have all these types of products or like services, and there are different terms, different conditions, and different calculation. It's really crucial. It's really critical.
Right, and it's like the
Same.
bottom line, like this is your revenue at the end of the day, this is what you're working
Exact
toward.
thing if we're talking about inventory, so we want the salespeople to know exactly what they have and what they can sell. And you can only imagine if like salespeople try to sell something, but they don't know if they have it or not, if they like how fast they will ship it, how fast the shipping will be. It can damage all the eventually all the revenue and all the income of the company.
By the way, I'm
And for
taking
your
liberty to ask questions in middle, but for you, the audience, you could drop your questions in the Q&A, and we'll get to them at the end.
yes. So for your next question, when company is ready to do such process, again at the beginning of any like life cycle of company, usually there are a lot of like changes and a lot of customization because we're still trying to get each prospect, each opportunity. We're still trying to find the best offer, the best terms, the best pricing, the best products. We usually have like many changes. So of course, ideally having this process, once we have like a baseline or something that is quite defined and quite clear. But I will add to this another note is that we will always have changes. It's changed all the time, ongoingly. I don't think that there is any company that is working the same as it worked 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Like there are always changes.
And if they do, it's probably time to refresh.
Exactly, exactly. So we need it to be built that way, that we have someone that owns this whole process, that can update any changes that are occurring, and have this like perspective of for example, if I do any change with our pricing, I need to make sure that I change it also in the CPQ tool and in the ERP, or in the finance tool and in the CRM. And it's not making any conflicts or any problems in the data flow. So this is one thing that it's ongoingly. And secondly, and this is like one of my, I think one of the biggest tips of this webinar is that having a defined, clear process, even if it's not taking into consideration many of the edge cases, or even if it leaves like quite a lot of place for manual work, but the work process is defined for, like, everyone knows their responsibility, what they need to do, in which system they need to work, what fields or like activities they need to fill in or do. It's already improves the whole process like very, very significantly. So even if I will give an example, okay? Doing the integration between the CRM and ERP, it's a complex integration, and it is something that like it's a decision that like the whole management of the company need to make and be very involved in this project. It's a complicated, it's not a complicated, it's sensitive project. It's an important, and it's a sensitive project. But what we can do, for example, as a meantime, as a halfway solution, is that once the deal got to a one stage in the CRM, we can send an email for the financial admin or for the admin of the ERP with all the details of the contract. And this person will create the account and the order in the ERP manually, but at least the work process is very defined, and everyone knows the responsibility. Everyone knows the handshake between each department and each stage.
Yeah, like sometimes the whole thing, building the entire process can seem daunting. Like, okay, where do I start? What do I do? And oftentimes it's what we also say, like, if you're doing the process manually, it's a way of testing it out before you just automate things. Because whatever you automate is like, you have to make sure it's working. So it's best to test it out even before.
Yes, diving into the automation of any edge case and any like small thing can just like ruin the whole project, honestly. Like it can be so time consuming, so cost consuming, and at the end of the day, like we will miss the main point, which is to streamline this process or to optimize this process. Okay, so we're just on my first slide, but don't worry, the next slides we will move them quite fast. So this is an example of the tools that I was talking about. As you can see, CRM, CPQ tools, ERPs and financial tools. Of course, SAP is also part of it. Payment tools, customer success, BI. The one tool that I haven't talked about yet is the integration connectors. We have two, I think, or three. The most common names are Zapier, Make, and Workato. We are partners of Make, and we are really advising to use this tool because we really like it. I think that it's like the perfect combination in terms of like something that is very advanced and intuitive for use, but also have the all the capabilities that we need in order to make such complicated integrations. And I think this is one of the, I don't know, the leading tools that orchestrate all this combination of all the other tools, because with Make, we basically can bring almost any vision to become true. Because unlike it was like, I don't know, several years ago, we had to think about how to configure or match two different systems to speak with the same language, and then either we sync everyone to one system and then do the manipulation and automation in this one, or the opposite way. Now with Make and tools like this, basically we have an additional external database where we can pull some of the data from the first system, pull some of the data from the second system, do a lookup there or a manipulation there, and return an input, or return something to one of the systems that we want, trigger any activities, webhooks, and so forth. And also Make offers a lot of like other things that we maybe haven't took in mind, like a AI generator, like a pre-built templates, pre-built scenarios, pre-built not pre-built, sorry, a very profound knowledge base, and a supportive team, and
They do have the
many
templates that are like pre-built, like scenarios, which are useful as well.
They have pre-built scenarios, they have templates, they have a support team, they have partners that can also help in implementing such things. So basically, this is the, if I talked before that about maybe not automate everything and not running it to do like a complex integrations and automations, although this is right, and it's important to have defined work processes before we go and make them automatic and integrate all the systems. But once we got to this stage, Make is the tool that we choose to do these integrations and processes. Yeah, so here is an example of the two core systems that we talked about. What we need to take in mind is that we have multiple entities. Sometimes within each system, we have in the CRM, for example, we have partners and customers and active customers and firmer customers and leads, MQLs, and maybe also like employees and different type of entities. Same in the ERP. We talked about compliance regulations. So each system need to be compliant to a certain like standards. And we need to make sure before we are deciding to move forward with any of these systems, we need to make sure that it's compliant with the regulation that we need. If we're talking about using Make, although I know that Make stands with all the higher standards, but this is something that we need to consider because make it's an external database. If we're talking about the CPQ tool, if we're talking about the payment tool, so we need to take this also into consideration. Financial regulation, of course, this is super sensitive, super complex, let's say. It requires unique expertise to know, to define which, like what regulation we need to stand in. The system, the structure of the systems, again, we have different functionalities. It's not just the objects that we have, which are different, and the language that it's talking, it's different. It's also the functionality of the system. And we need to take in mind that as automated the process will be, it will need more control protocols to ensure that everything is worked properly. So if you think that automating a certain process will necessarily reduce the amount of time and investment that you put on a certain process, it's not necessarily. I have an example of a client that wanted to automate their contract creation process. And when we dived into the details of defining the process and understand how we can automate it, I found out that he customized each contract. So and at this point, I explained to him that if you customize each contract to each customer, it doesn't work to automate it because you'll need to double check each contract and you need to make adjustments and edit each contract, and it eventually will double the time and the cost that you are investing in such process. It's better to, okay, you need to customize it, you need to work manually. Let's define the specific framework and rules and responsibilities in this process in order to simplify it, but it's not necessarily worth to automate it. So this is also what we need to take in consideration. I'm continuing. Yes. Okay.
Yes, no comment.
Okay. So this is also a whole chapter, but I will try to make it short and clear as possible. When we are approaching to such projects, we need to align across like many departments that are involved in this process. You saw it. It starts with even with the marketing and SDR teams and sales teams, and then goes to operations, financial, logistic, customer success, data analysts, BI teams, and so forth. Each of these teams have different, first of all, they have different interests. It's known, but they also have different knowledge and different idea of how this whole process need to be look like. They also don't necessarily know the different terminology and the different functionality of each department and each tool. For example, sales team not necessarily knows that in finance, the account name is different than the company name in the CRM. And what we usually need is someone that have this like overall business processes understanding that will be able to interview and pull all the requirements and insights and information that he needs from each department, but then align it to a unified language. And of course, this is all with the challenges of the engagement that is required from each of the team, their different interests, their different priorities, and so forth. But don't worry, we have a receipt for a successful project, or at least it just like the first few steps that we need to take in mind, and it's kind of like summarizing everything that we talked about so far. So we need to take in mind that we have here an integration of many systems, including 2 core systems. Be aware that each of these small tools that we talked about along the way requires a setup and implementation, a configuration, and an integration both with the tool that or the system that they receive the data from, but also integration with the system that they will return data to. It can be the same systems, for example, CRM to quote tool and back, and it can be also for a third system, which is ERP, for example. Each part of the process, so as I said, it needs to be set up and implemented, configured, and basically it's like the first step of it is to have all these processes defined. It's better to have like less defined, like less milestones, but at least like we have a framework rather than go ahead and define any sub step, any small step along the way. The process designer and the implementer may be different people, and they're usually different people, because we have someone that is having the whole overview architecture vision, and we have those that implement the specific requirements. And it's not necessarily because they have different expertise or knowledge. It's also because it's overwhelming to control all the information and have like also the zoom in and zoom out vision. So this is why it's usually different people. And usually such project will include a business process analyst, which is the one that is looking on the overall picture, and a technology specialist. It can be the same person or 2 different people, but someone that brings like the technology solution to the process. And experts on a specific topics such as finance, compliance, and security. And maybe the last point is that almost any vision is possible by working with integration tools such as Make. Yeah, and the main focus is on the definition and the alignment of the systems, and again, the work processes. I think this is it for now, right?
Yes, that's it. Thank you. This was really incredible. If anyone has any questions, now is the time, because we're going to be dropping in 2 minutes. So first of all, thank you so much for everyone who stayed till this point. We're going to be sending the recording. I may also ask a question like, what would you like to hear from us next? Is there any other topics you're interested in? What else are you interested in learning about? And yeah, thank you so much for being here and joining us for this. And Nelly, thank you so much for sharing all of your insights and really just giving us an understanding of what's involved in the process, which tools are involved. You know, it is very overwhelming in the beginning, but then when you jump in and you go to each part, it becomes more tangible and accessible.
Thank you very much for listening. And yes, I see we have something in the chat.
Make being a relatively new tool and not well known in established companies, what could be tips to drive its integration in the operational departments of a company? That's a very good question, Anthony.
Yes, it's a great question, and it is quite a new tool. Although it was Integromat before, but all the new capabilities are quite new. I will answer this way. First of all, you should go ahead and try to use this tool. They are offering a free license.
I think it's like a month, or it's like a certain amount of
it's
calls.
until amount of number of operations they call it, or
Yeah.
First, second, their pricing is very, very comfortable. So again, it's worth to try. And third, as I said, they have so many like a very profound knowledge base and customer success team and partners that can, like, so many information online in their product and by their support team that can make this all like experience and all this try a very it's a very good, very easy, and I think it's worth to try. And again, they are like compliant with all the standards that are required usually in order to work in big organizations, and they are working really hard on being the number one connector. So I think it's worth a try.
Yeah. Also, another thing I just want to add is, like you said, Nelly, you could just try it out. So sometimes, like, especially at a more established company, there would be many tools, maybe many integration tools that you're using. But if one team is using it on a small number of operations, you could eventually, it might not be the one you choose right now if you're choosing to integrate two big systems, if not everyone's sure about it, but you can start, show that it's working, prove it in a small way, and that's how it can expand.
I can also say regarding Make that this is like the let's say the new technology, the new a new area, because like almost everything is possible there, and there even like there are full companies that they're all backend built just on Make. They're all companies built on Make, and it's working. It's actually working.
Yeah,
We
so
see
also
this
showing
company.
these cases is
Yeah. I just recently had
important.
a conversation with a growing company that they're all backend is built on Make. And they are not like too small business that will fall tomorrow. Like they are they are looking quite serious.
Yeah. Are there any other questions? Thank you, Anthony, for asking that. And we hope this provided some sort of answer. Okay. You're welcome. Okay, that's great. So thanks, everyone. We're going to end this now and we'll follow up. So we'll be in touch. Expect to see my email in your inbox today or tomorrow. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.